It was the eve of a new century, and Catherine Ives left her home near the quiet Michigan State University campus.
I was walking into downtown East Lansing to go out for New Year's Eve, and we saw the fire trucks and the engines moving onto campus, and we said, oh, gee, wonder what's going on here. And I looked up and I counted the floors, and I said, that's my office.
The fire completely destroyed Ives' department. It was arson, but investigators had no clue why an agricultural center devoted to helping developing countries would be a target.
The issue was, did we have any ex-boyfriends or girlfriends that would be mad at us?
Then a communique arrived. It came from a basement office in Portland, Oregon, from a representative of an underground group, the Earth Liberation Front.
There was an Earth Liberation Front action at Michigan State University on December 31st this last year, and it was a fire that burned down part of a building where a genetic research project was going on. It did about $900,000 worth of damage.
From burning buildings to destroying crops, the Earth Liberation Front has declared war on biotechnology.
I think the motives behind biotechnology are sickening. We know right now that there are problems associated with biotech, and we're not going to know the extent of those problems for years to come.
The ELF are at the extreme end of a movement passionately opposed to genetically modified food. Environmentalists call it Frankenfood and want it banned.
We feel that this is a mass genetic experiment that's going on in our environment and in our diet.
But giant multinationals who have bet their future on this technology insist it's safe.
These are products, they're technologies that have been more widely tested than any other food product that came before them in history.
There are scientists on both sides of the debate.
We haven't had so much as a headache from any genetically modified food.
We know very little about the long-term impacts of genetically engineered food, so as a general matter, they should be subject to more scrutiny.
At once exciting and scary, this may be the future of our food. From corn that makes its own pesticide, to bananas that contain medicine, to fast-growing fish.
This revolution affects the most intimate aspect of life on Earth, our own biology, the biology of our fellow creatures. If ever there was a time when we human beings had to take personal responsibility for the future, this is it.
Tonight, Nova and Frontline disentangle the fight about genetically modified food. The risks, the benefits, the hopes, and the fears.
National corporate funding for Frontline is provided by Earthlink.
Major funding for NOVA is provided by the Park Foundation, dedicated to education and quality television.
Scientific achievement is fueled by the simple desire to make things clear. Sprint PCS is proud to support NOVA.
This program is funded in part by the Northwestern Mutual Foundation. Some people already know Northwestern Mutual can help plan for your children's education. Are you there yet? Northwestern Mutual Financial Network.
And by the Corporation for Public Broadcasting. Funding for NOVA and Frontline is provided by contributions to your PBS stations from viewers like you. Thank you.
In the early 1990s, on the big island of Hawaii, there was a disaster brewing. Like many farmers, Rusty Perry's livelihood was based on the papaya, a sweet-tasting fruit and one of Hawaii's most important crops. Then a lethal disease, the papaya ring spot virus, began decimating the plantations.
We first found it in, I think it was late '93, and by '94 it was starting to become a real problem, and by '95 we had lost most of our fields. We had about 14 non-family employees. We went down to 1.
Dennis and Carol Gonzalez, two Hawaiian molecular biologists working at Cornell University, came to see the damage for themselves.
It's going to be amazing. Look at that tree over there. Typical symptoms of papaya ring spot. These are the shoestringing of the leaves over here. Then look at this ring spot here. This is why they call it papaya ring spot. Here.
Boy, those fruit are terrible.
Yeah, this farmer not going to make any money.
Nothing seemed to stop the virus. Not physical barriers, not chemical pesticides. And most farmers were resigned that within a few years, the $45 million papaya industry would be gone forever. Back in New York State at Cornell University, Dennis and Carol Gonzalez searched for a solution. They wondered if the cutting-edge technology of genetic engineering might help. Genes are the chemical instructions in each cell that govern how plants and animals reproduce and grow. Gonzalez's colleagues had been manipulating them since the 70s. Many medicines, from insulin to AIDS drugs, were now genetically engineered. Perhaps, he thought, the same techniques could help plants as well. Even though plants don't have immune systems, Gonzalez thought it might be possible to protect them against a future infection. Among the many genes making up the ring spot virus, Gonzalez identified one that made a harmless protein in the virus's outer coat. If he could splice this gene into the papaya chromosome, making a transgenic papaya, then perhaps the papaya would be protected, in effect, vaccinated against future infection. But how do you get genes into plants? Scientists at Cornell had invented a crude but effective way called the gene gun. The ammunition is genes, the target, a plant. The shot is propelled by compressed gas. Magnified many times, the process works like this. First, tens of thousands of copies of the desired viral gene are made. Next, they're mixed with tiny tungsten balls to which the genes stick. When the balls are fired, the genes are carried along into the leaf. As the balls pass through the plant, some of the genes get inserted into some of the cells. These transformed cells can be grown in culture to become new plants, transgenic plants. Gonzalez grew hundreds of transgenic papaya plants in dishes and subjected them to chemical tests.